Perfect. Okay, good evening. Today we're going to go to the part 3 of the meaning of life. It's still a bit of a theoretical shiur. As you will see, we're going to discuss a lot of different subjects, which are a little bit, controversial. So the last shiur, we saw that there are 2 schools. One school that believes that meaning of life has to do with my connection, personal connection with Hashem, that everything that I do must help me in getting closer to Hashem on the 3 levels: the level of Yirat Hashem, the level of Ahavat Hashem, and the level of the Dvekut Hashem. We saw that those are 3 levels that a person can reach. You start with Yirat Hashem, you get to Ahavat Hashem, and then you finish with the Dvekut in Hashem. And then we have the second school, which is more based on my purpose in this world as doing a tikkun of the world, tikkun ha'olam. That means that it's not only on myself, but it is more on how I am doing the world a better place, which can be also on an individual. I can improve myself as well because I'm part of the world, but I can also improve my nation on everything that's to do with the nation. And as on a national level, I can improve the world on humanistic level, on human level. And then I can also improve the world on the creational level, which means also the animals, the trees, ecology, and etc. So making sure that the world is a nicer place to be in, and that all the animals are treated nicely, and also the trees, everything that Hashem created is to be looked after. And that is also my purpose. So these were the 4 different levels that Rav Kook has very nicely developed in his famous song that he has written. The first school is very much as the Mesilas Yeshorim. So nearly everything that I said in the last shiur, you can find back in Mesilas Yeshorim. We are here is to be nehene miziv hashchina, to be zoiche in the olam haba, and therefore this world is only a passageway, is a prosdor to reach our final destination, which is the olam haba. And this world is only a passageway. It is not that important, the world on itself. We should try to reduce the number of interactions, and everything that we do, everything that we think, everything that we feel should be towards Hashem and how we feel towards Hashem. The second one is Tikkun Ha'olam. The question is why? What is the purpose of Tikkun Ha'olam? And here I did not mention it the last time, only very, very little. And that's why I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on what is the purpose of Tikkun Ha'olam. So why do I need to do a Tikkun Ha'olam? So there are, if you want, 2 or 3 sub possibilities that I will elaborate a little bit today. The first one is the reason why I have to do a Tikkun Ha'olam, I have to correct the world, is actually in order to be able to build a dira b'tachtonim. What does it mean, a dira b'tachtonim? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants Beis HaMikdash, wants to live in this world. So when the Pasuk says this week's parsha, what? Sorry, that's this week's Truma. Exactly. It says v'shochanti b'tocham. What does it mean v'shochanti b'tocham? I want to live among them. How do I live among them? Through my little house, which will be the Beis HaMikdash. So the Beis HaMikdash is basically the house where he's going to live, and among the humans. But he can only live among the humans if there is shalom in the world, if there is peace. And there has to be peace, and there has to be more toiv than ra. A world which is full of ra is not a place where Hashem can live.
That's why Mashiach is not coming.
Not yet.
So not yet, because we're still in the process of or the Mashiach.
Hallo.
If you need peace.
אני מאמין, what
Yeah.
this will never come?
אני מאמינה
Yeah,
במשיח, but not in peace.
Yeah, yeah,
No, he says
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
go with.
So it has to be, there has to be peace in the world. That's the whole idea of Hashem can only be here if there is a peace in the world. But why does he want to live here? He wants to live here because he wants to communicate with us. So Hashem, the idea between the idea of our belief is that we have an Hashem, we have a God that likes to interact with humans in a face-to-face level. That means a face-to-face means panim el panim. Hashem is not someone that is up there and we are down here. Hashem continuously wants to interact with us. There is a difference between Christianity and Islam and Judaism. If you want, Christianity is a religion where it's very much human-centric. By this I mean that everything that in Christianity they believe is that the humans are at the center of the universe, and so much do they believe in humanity. Hello. So much do the Christians believe in humanity that their God have even became a human. So humans is something which is extremely important in Christianity.
It's not God, it's the Son of God.
No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
God, so they pray to him, no?
Yeah,
It's the Son.
it's a Trinity. Let's not. Let's not. No. For the Islam is the second. Is what is centric is the divine. Is Hashem is the center of the universe, and everything is submissive to Hashem. So the idea that we are completely submissive. That's the Islam. The word Islam means submission. So we are submitted to Hashem, and we are nothing. And the only thing that we have to do is have this whole world is a test, a bit like the first school. And this is a test. And if you pass this test, it's good. And if you fail the test, then too bad. It's like then you're not passing to the next level. So that's about the Islam. Judaism, it's very interesting because Judaism is not the humans and not the divine that is in the center, but it is the communication between the divine and the humans that is at the center of Judaism. In other words, it's all about the communication that Hashem has with the humans and humans have with Hashem. The idea that the Aseres HaDibros, which is the Aseres HaDibros is the first time and the last time that Hashem spoke to humanity. Normally Hashem speaks to individuals, but to whole humanity through the Jewish people is Aseres HaDibros. This Aseres HaDibros was written in stone, and this was kept in the holiest of the holiest place. So we keep at the center of the universe, which is the Kodesh HaKodashim, in the Aron HaKodesh, we keep the Aseres HaDibrot, which is the communication that Hashem has with humanity. Between what's called the Aseres HaDibrot, the two Luchot, are inside of the Aron HaKodesh, and on top of it are the two Kruvim, and those two Kruvim, they have two faces which are facing each other. So they communicate with each other, panim el panim, and in between there is the Aseret HaDibrot, is the symbol of the communication between Hashem and humans, which is at the center. It's not surprising that for us, learning Torah is the most important mitzvah, because the learning Torah, we are continuing listening to what Hashem has been telling us. Through the learning, we are continuing this communication channel. It's not something that Hashem spoke to us and we can forget it. No, by learning and repeating it, it is as if we are again listening to Hashem, and there is again a channel of communication open between us and Hashem. The Torah, which is nothing else than a collection of Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe Lemo, Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe Lemo. This is hundreds of little communications that Hashem had with humanity. All these are collected in the Torah, and this is exactly what is at the center of Judaism. The Torah is at the center of Judaism. In as much that we even stand up for a Sefer Torah, we are We are even giving it, in Kabbalistic terms, divine values to a Sefer Torah, which is only a letter that Hashem kind of wrote to us, and he spoke to us. But for us, this is at the center of Judaism, is the communication that Hashem has with the humans. And that's why also davening to Hashem has become, together with learning Torah, has become the two, because davening is again a communication that goes from us to Hashem, and the Torah is from Hashem to us. And so we have put in the last 1,000 years, we have put the most important driver of Judaism as being the learning the Torah and the davening to Hashem. It was not always like that. People did not used to daven to Hashem. This was only Nevi'im were allowed to daven, and it was only the Beis Hamikdash, Bet HaMedrash. It did not exist. There didn't exist any Bet HaMedrash in the time of the first Bet HaMikdash. If you remember the Kuzari, that the people of the first Bet HaMikdash, they would have destroyed our Beis Medrash, because this is Avodah Zarah, what we are doing, because we are standing up for Sefer Torah, we open the Aron HaKodesh, we stand up. It's not something that is lekatchila, but after the Churban, as we explained, after the Churban, we became a religion, and we needed something to feel a little bit of closeness to Hashem, and so we turned into what we call religiosity. So we need a Torah to stand up, we need to kiss it, we need to be able to touch it, to dance with it. It's very important for us to have something that we have tangible, because we lost. Sorry? Korbanot, we don't have this anymore. And so what we are doing is we have, and the halacha was okay with that, as the Kuzari explained, because we had no other choice. But it's anyway, Judaism, it is all about the communication between Hashem and the humans. Not Hashem, not the humans, but it is the panim el panim that we know between, what, sorry?
Connect.
The connect. Yeah, but it's a connection with, has a communication. So it is on the same level, because normally when people think about connection, it means submissiveness, that Islam is also connected, but the Islam says they're also connected with Hashem, but in a submissive way. So they're completely as an evet to a rabbi. By us, we are talking to Hashem, we daven, we actually, when we daven with a straight face. We are not going like that. You see the Gedolim, they daven it's really at a level that we daven to Hashem. It's a quite an interesting point of view. So the question then is, so what is the purpose then of Judaism? So we saw that the idea is Hashem wants to live with us, wants to communicate with us, and he communicates only through the Jewish people. So the question is, why only through the Jewish people? We don't see, only saw a little bit that Hashem spoke to Bilam, but normally 99% of the communication that Hashem had with humanity went through the Jewish people. Even by the Christians, JC, as they say, was a Jew. So whatever happens, it's always a Jew, besides in the Islam, where he was an Arab. But normally there is always a communication with the Jews. So what is so special about the Jewish people that Hashem chose us? And so it's something also, again, very interesting. When you look at Christianity, their focus is more focused on what we call charity. So the whole idea of, I think I spoke here already about that. So Christianity is more focused on charity, where everything, the church and their priests, they're all very much focused on to give to the poor people. It's in la charité chrétienne, as they say in French. It's very important. In the Islam, it is the other way around. It's everything has to do with the justice. The religion is called the din. Din is, we know din as a justice, is the Sharia. So everything is focused on justice. And in Judaism, it's actually, Hashem says that it chose Avraham Avinu. Why did it choose Avraham Avinu? Because Yodati because I knew,
It's available now.
sorry?
It's available now.
Yeah, לעשות צדקה ומשפט. Yeah, so ושמרו דרך השם לעשות צדקה ומשפט. So כי ידעתי, why did Hashem choose Avraham Avinu? People think because he knew he was believing. No, the Torah said, למען אשר יצווה עזבונו, because he will continue, he will teach his children את ביתו אחריו, ושמרו דרך השם לעשות צדקה ומשפט. So it's not tzedakah only, we are not charity, we are not mishpat only, but we are tzedakah umishpat. So it is a balance between those two values, which are the tzedakah, the charity, and mishpat. If you go too much into one direction, you end up with becoming arzar, to
Wicked.
become
Cool.
cruel. Yeah.
Where
If you are too much onto charity or too much onto justice, you end up becoming a terrible, cruel society. It's very important to have a balance. It's the cruel. Parce que quand on va trop dans la charité, alors on rentre, on voit quand même ce que les Européens, les chrétiens ont terminé à faire avec nous. Donc même que dans leur esprit, c'était la charité, mais ils terminent avec des actes de cruauté extrêmes, les Européens, les chrétiens. Et dans l'autre côté, l'islam aussi. Donc il y a le principe, the principle is that we need is a unification of both values, which is tzedakah and mishpat. So it has to be something which is balanced. And only the Jewish nation has this capacity to be able to balance both, to know when we have to be charity, but sometimes we have to be mishpat. We have to kill Amalek. We have to be horrible with the Irani Dachat. There's a lot of dinim that Hashem gives us on extreme charity on one hand, but also extreme strong mishpat, very strong on the other hand. And this is something that is really something that is at the basis of what we have to teach the people. Today, Europeans, they don't understand how we can kill so many Arabs, Palestinians, and innocent people, because they don't understand that there is a balance between that. We have to have also mishpat, because otherwise you become a cruel world. So you need to have a balance. Now, I don't know if Netanyahu has the right balance, but in any case, the idea behind that, sorry?
Has to do with mishpat.
Has to do with mishpat, yeah. But in any case, that is the unity of and you find this back in a lot of psukim later on in Tehillim a lot, is this tzedakah mishpat that come back together as one. And this is the or lagoyim that we have to be, that this is what we have to offer to the world at some point. And when we'll do that, then Hashem says, "V'nivcho v'cho kol mishpecho Yisro Adomo." So that's already explained you. It doesn't say "V'nivcho v'cho kol goyehu Adomo," but kol mishpecho Yisro Adomo. What is the difference between a goy and a mishpocha? You have a mishpocha. This is the cultural, that we are marrying with each other, etc. A goy is a nation. The only language that nations know with each other is normally war or peace. Yeah. So the communication between goyim, between nations, is always military communication or economic communication, but which is also the basis of war and peace. And so that thanks to Avraham Avinu, thanks to the Jewish nation, all the nations will become one. All of them will turn into mishpochos. And we will be the only Goy Kadosh, Mamlechet Kohanim. We will be the only Goy that will exist when Moshiach will come, will be the Jewish nation, will be the only nation, while all the others will become Mishpachot. I have Zechariah, there's a very nice posuk which clearly says this as well, that he speaks about the nations in Moisa Moshiach, he speaks in Mishpachot. They become a Mishpacha, they become a family and not a nation. So the idea of a
What's the
nation.
difference?
Sorry,
Within that,
don't understand?
what's the difference?
You have a yeah.
A nation.
Yeah, you have in Noach, Noach, there is a few psukim like that which people don't understand. It says, Ele b'nechom lemishpachoisom lilshoinoisom be'artzoisom begoyeyem. Okay, it says also, Aya goyim be'artzoisom ish lilshoinoi lemishpachoisom begoyeyem. So there are three levels of groups of Am. You have the level of Mishpachoisom, which is how do you call it? Family, one ancestor. We have genetically we are related with each other. This is the Mishpachoisom. The Lishoinosom is we share the same culture, the same language, religion, etc. All the elements where we share the same. But we are maybe not mishpuchos, but at least we have one what do you call it, common language. And then yeah, ba'artzoisom, the goyehem is the nation, which is a geographic place. Okay, so we share one country, one flag, one king, one military, because we are all part of borders. We are within the same border. Okay, so you understand the three levels. So you have the family, the culture, and the nation, the geographic nation. And Goyim is the geographic nation. It's about the border, and it has a king. By us, we have, in Judaism, we have the head of the family is the Kohen Gadol. The head of our culture is the Nasi of the Sanhedrin, because that's the religious leader. And the head of the nation is the king, is the Melech. Okay? So we have also the three levels exist by us as well. And the idea is that because it says the nivrucho v'cho kol mishpechoiso adomo, then it seems that it says that the idea that because of us, the families, the nations will become families. So instead of having nations, the nation idea of nations will disappear. And instead of saying that there is the Belgian nation, we'll speak about the Belgian mishpocha. Okay.
Then we all have the same language?
No. But it's not going to have the level of a nation which is making war with each other. Families, they don't make war. They fight a lot, but they never make war, right? Families, we marry with each other, right? But we don't make so much war. And nations are war. You see it also in Zechariah, where he speaks about the Mishpachat Mitzrayim. So when Moshiach will come.
So it's a
peaceful society where there will be only one nation will exist, and this nation will keep together in harmony all the other nations, because they will become the level of family. Okay? It's a very romantic, what? Sorry?
Yeah, this will take a long time.
What?
I don't see it happening.
No, okay.
Can I ask again the cruelty? Because you gave an example from the Europeans against
Today
us.
everything goes quickly. From one minute to the other.
If it's not
from
balanced,
charity
to cruelty.
From charity to
The cruelty. First of all, we all know that the church was not very charitable with a lot of other people. And the way that they killed each other, whether it is Inquisition with us, but also when they are making a war with each other, they were never very charity-like. So they did not follow, they were quite cruel with each other. It's not me that says, but it's Chazal that says that when there is only Rachmanis and there's no din, then it becomes, I don't remember the expression, maybe you remember it, that then it becomes Achzariyut. So when there is no din, only Rahmanut that does not have any din becomes Achzariyut at some point. And din, well, that's the one, yeah, also kind of the same principle, more or less. You need to have always a balance. You cannot have only charity. Okay, that's the whole idea here. Tzedakah umishpat. That's why Hashem is very strict. We need to have a mishpat. We cannot. Yeah. We end up, if you are doing only charity, you end up being an achzar at some point. So it has to be balanced. Okay? Not convinced?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
This
Okay.
is pity of all these Hamas people.
Yeah.
They are innocent.
If you think that you're not going to attack the Arabs because a lot of innocent people are there, you end up becoming an arzar on your own people. You understand? You need to have a mishpat.
Yes.
You need to have mishpat.
Because they're killing us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, but those babies are not killing us. Those babies did not kill us. But at some point you have to be strong and not to think only on Rahmanut. You also need to have. The Rambam is very much also on that part in Shmoneh Prakim, where he also says a person should not be Rahmanut too much. He has to be a middle way. Shvil HaZahav. The Rambam is a lot about that as well, that it's a balanced, everything has to be balanced, not to be exaggerated on one side. Sorry?
We also have to be balanced.
We have to be balanced. For the Rambam, this is the ikar of the humans is to be balanced.
You want another coffee?
No, it's perfect. Thank you. There is something very interesting that I noticed a few months ago, that in the beginning, the Akdoma of the Mesilat Yesharim, which is the first school, as I explained to you. So he says, כל ההולך אל תכלית ההטבה האמיתית, דהיינו שתולדתה חיזוק התורה, then he says, ותיקון אחוות המדינות. So he add on a few words, ותיקון אחוות המדינות. What does it mean? That he is metaken the brotherhood of the different nations. Yeah. So it's very interesting because I did not expect it to suddenly speak about. He never speaks about a tikkun achvat hamedinot. Suddenly becomes the purpose.
Political.
Sorry.
Sounds political.
Very political, and I don't know where it does not fit. Maybe it looks like it's not at all a part of that book, but it seems that he knew also that the end goal is, like I said, is a tikkun haolam, so that there is peace among the people. Because why do we care about tikkun achatam? Sollen
Those are hugging each other.
Yeah, that's what we always say. Voila. If they kill each other, then they don't bother us. But that's not not the goal. We are here. That's very important. We are here. The Or Lagoyim. People don't like to hear that, but we are Mamlechet Kohanim. We are the Kohanim of the other nations. Hashem wants us to build the Bet HaMikdash so that the other nations could come and visit him and be so the house should be the house for all the nations, and we are going to be the Kohanim from all the nations. We are serving the other nations. We don't like to hear that, but theoretically, we are serving the other nations. We are here to help the other nations in enabling them to have a connection with Hashem. And it's not for us, but we are here for the nations. And this is a little bit also in the Mesilat.
That doesn't mean to serve. We have to be the example.
The example, but why? So that the other nations, so the end goal is that the other nations should be peaceful, should know how to behave, because that's what we are here for. Hashem puts us, we are the bulb in the apartment, the Or LaGoyim. You understand? It's the Goyim that are in the apartment, and we have to give light. I don't know. That's you are already asking.
You have to ask Ramchal.
Yeah. But it's interesting that suddenly the Ramchal from Mesilat Yesharim, which has to do with the individual development, it says, this I understand, ותיקון אחוות המדינות. I don't know where these words come from. I don't know. Seriously, did you? You can check it.
I know. I learned Mesilat Yesharim with the pupil of Rav Kook.
Oh no! What did he? תיקון אחוות המדינות.
55 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. But anyway, it's an amazing little 3 words which do not fit at all. It seems that the end goal is the tikkun achvat hamedinot, that we are here to give peace and harmony in the nations. So when we are saying the goyim zones, that's not fair. It's not nice, and it's also not true, because we are here in order for them. We have to teach them and to make sure that they behave and that there is harmony, because that's what we are here for.
Already
We
now?
didn't reach it.
Sorry?
Already now, or just the Mashiach?
No, but
How is it you don't?
I don't mind to make a difference, because it's true that once we are in Galut and they make us suffer, that we are not very naturally inclined to be nice about them. But to say Ken Yirbu when we pass a bet Kvarot, or these things that I'm used to when I was a child, I think Yimach Shemom about the Goyim and Mishtachavim, I saw in one of the shuls in Oleinu Leshabeach, they say Yimach Shemom v'zichrom about the Goyim. I never saw it printed in the Siddur. It's first time.
Only those who did tshuva, not all.
Yeah. But it's the problem is that we have to make a chiluk and they have to
It's
teach.
not true.
Mais c'est moi les Amalek. Les Goïms sont pas Amalek. C'est pas Amalek. En plus, Amalek peut faire tchouva. Amalek il peut faire tchouva aussi. On peut se marier même avec un Amalek si c'est du Megaïe. Comment?
On peut se marier avec Amalek.
Ouais, il n'y a pas de problème avec.
Pas de problème.
On savait qui était dans l'Amalek.
Ich weiß nicht, wer es ist Amalek.
Mais so petit Deutsch, ne? C'est comme du Deutsch.
Ouais, Edom et Mitzri, la 3e génération, on peut se marier avec 3e génération. Edom et Mitzri, ils sont des Edomim. Amalek.
On peut pas.
Donc, cousin,
Comment?
c'est les
Ammonim, on ne peut pas, mais
Ah,
Ammonim,
oui.
mais Edom et Mitzri, la 3e on peut. 3e génération. Ouais.
Ja, maar zo zeg maar je dat.
C'est un très bon point. Ça, c'est le plus important. Le plus principal. Ouais.
Pour être hors la goïne, tu dois donner l'exemple.
Ouais.
C'est après nous.
Ouais. Mais ça, it changes a little bit the perspective that we have. And I understand that sometimes the children, the only way that you have to be, I always say, everything that I was brought up to, the problem is that we continue. So what we tell to the children, I understand the children, you have to tell them that we are better, that the Goyim are only Goyim, that's why. Why can he eat something and I can't? Because he's only Goyim. I understand that's the only way as a child, otherwise how can you go and explain? It's difficult sometimes. Parents don't have the patience to start a whole theological discussion with a child. But at some point, I think we have to stop this type of education and that we are here in order to help the Goyim, that we are not here for ourselves, but we are here in order to build the Beis HaMikdash, so that the basic Kori L'Cholo Amin. So that's the first part that I wanted to say. It's a different way that we are normally used to in the current Haredi drashot. The second part, sorry?
Her reaction, that's all.
Okay. Yeah. The second part is, so if you have to do a tikkun haolam, and that's a bit of a difficult part, which somebody, I don't blame you, but it's very important anyway. Is why can't Hashem do it himself? So why can't Hashem do the tikkun? He can do everything. So why didn't he create directly? Last time I explained the Torah Voyu. He already created a world which was not perfect, and then slowly he made order. And on the 6 days of the Shkir, he stopped making this correction, and then he asked the human beings to continue with the tikkun. So why did he ask the human beings to continue with the tikkun? Why can't he do it himself? So that's why I said last time that there is a hole in Rav Kook. Has you might think that I'm a Talmud from maybe I am, but because he's really somebody who speaks about those subjects in a very deep way. But there is the concept of shlemut and hishtalmut. I already spoke about it last time. I mentioned it. There is, we believe that Hashem is complete. Yeah? He is complete. He is shalem. He is complete. But what is important is that in the shlemut, there is also still a hishtalmut. So the idea is that something that is shalem still has a potential to become even more shalem. Okay, so something that is complete includes in itself also the potential to become even more shalem. In other words, to be mosif the shlemut to the shlemut that exists already. So in other words, something that is shalem, it does not exist, because you always have the potential to improve and to grow. Okay, that's the philosophical idea of Rav Kook, which you can argue or not, but this is it's one of his very difficult theological issue that he's talking about. So Hashem is complete, but completeness means that I can still complete further. There is still a potential for me to be even more complete. But since Hashem is already complete, he cannot. So how can he improve? So he can create a world which is not complete, and therefore through the improvement of the world, he is also improving with, because the world is part of his. Everywhere Hashem is everywhere. So the world is also part of Hashem. We are also part of Hashem. If we can improve ourselves, it means that Hashem is also getting improved through us. Okay? So there is an improvement. The improvement of Hashem is also on the level of the world and on the level of humans. In other words, we are a tool at which Hashem can improve himself through the humans and through this world, because he himself cannot improve anymore. He's already, the Ein Sof is already Ein Sof. There's nothing can be added to the Ein Sof, but what can be added is on this world. Here we can improve ourselves, and therefore Hashem can improve himself through us, which are the Tselem Elokim. So our tafkid is to improve, so that not only us, but like this we improve Hashem as well. So Hashem needs us. That's a very important word which I'm going to use now. Hashem needs us to improve. So he needs us in order so that we improve the world, so he gets with improved as well. And that's a very heavy and controversial thing to say. There is yeah, but we're talking about Aliyat HaDorot, so we are bringing this whole. The second school is
before us there were more.
We are always better and better, and so we are getting.
We are more knowledgeable.
That's the discussion that I had last time, but we can have it again. One second. You had another question? You had another question? Or
Why does Hashem need us
To improve.
because he needs improvement. So because in the perfection means also it has the potential to be perfected as well. Because Hashem has everything. Also improvement is also because Hashem has everything that exists, also improvement. It means that improvement is also part of his own being, but it's only on potential. And if he wants to really improve, it's going to be through us. So he needs us to improve. So he actually needs the humans to improve this world and improve ourselves, which is through the Tselem Elokim. And therefore, with that, we are improving Hashem as well. So everything becomes better. Not only the Jews. For the moment, I didn't speak of the Jews. Yeah, no. This question of Hashem needs us there is a very on internet. There is the brother of Avram Fried is called Rabbi Manis Friedman. You heard about him? He's very famous. Very lot of YouTube movies, and he actually continuously says that. He speaks about that Hashem needs us, and Hashem created me because he needs me. So why am I in this world? Because not, I didn't ask to be on this world, because he apparently needs me to be on this world in order to do something for him. And so he speaks about that. And there is another rabbi, Reuven, I don't remember, Yaron Reuven, I don't know who, and he heard this video and he went against him, and after prayers he was burning Gehenna. Oh, he was, it's a very interesting discussion, because how can you say Hashem needs us, Hashem doesn't need us, etc., etc. Now, what is interesting is that those people who are talking like that, they forget that there is a whole Tikkun Zohar. The Zohar himself says, Eisehu Chasid, Amit Chased im Kono. So which one is a Chasid? The one that does Chesed with Kono, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And so the whole idea, which is developed in Hasidut, especially in Hasidut, is Avodah letzorech Gavoa. The Avodah is for the tzorech of the Gavoa. So it's not for us, but it is the Gavoa that needs our Avodah. So in other words,
Avodah is prayer.
What?
Avodah is prayer.
No, yeah, but everything, the whole Avodat Hashem is letzorech Hashem. Not letzorechenu, but it is letzorech Hashem. It's a concept which you can Google it if you want, Avodah letzorech Gavoa. It's quite a lot of has been written about
There's
that.
a lot of discussion when you pray, it's for you.
For you or for Hashem, exactly.
Hashem doesn't need it.
No.
Hashem doesn't need it.
Yeah.
It doesn't need
What? Sorry?
prayers.
No. So we already said
Because
last
if
time.
he needs, so he's
that-
not
but
entire. I mean,
no,
it's
but
not
that's
full.
why he asked to Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha when on the Tanya, the famous
Barucheni,
song. He asked him, please, Barucheni, give me a brocha. So he asked him, and he gave him a brocha. Hashem wanted a brocha, and he was happy. So this concept that we have of a God which is that doesn't need us, that is complete, is not always all the schools are agreeing with that concept. The Hashem needs us, and that's why he created us in order to fulfill a certain job that we have to do. So that's the second part, which makes the world a little bit more interesting. He uses it a lot, Rabbi Manis Friedman, for children that are a bit depressed and they don't see what the point of living. So he says, to always use the same concept. You should know that it's not you, it's Hashem that needs you. And so you don't need Hashem. Hashem needs you. And he uses it a lot. I mean, I can't do it. He is those who know him, he's an unbelievable speaker, and he has a fantastic way to make it so warm and interesting. But it's a completely different, again, a different viewpoint of the meaning of life. Is that Hashem needs us and not we need Hashem. Okay?
Isn't it both ways? Isn't it both ways? We don't need Hashem.
Of course, he is going to help us to achieve our goal. We are asking him, please help us in achieving my goal. Okay?
Avodah letzorech Gavoha.
Avodah letzorech Gavoa. Letzorech Gavoa. Yeah. Gavoa. Gimel Vez Vav Hey.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey.
Gavoa. No, not
Not you, hey?
I don't think so.
Or like a matzah mata?
Maybe in modern Hebrew, but I don't know. In the normally Gavoa letzorech. Anyway. You can find it in, I mean, I hope so. I've written that's how I remember when I was once I dealt with it a lot. So Hashem needed you. So that's the second part which I wanted to say. So we are here for humanity, not that we are here for ourselves and humans. We believe that humans are going to work for us. And you understand? It's the viewpoint that we have today is quite a different viewpoint. But there is another viewpoint, is know that we are the Or Lagoim, we are the Mamleches Kohanim. We are here to bring peace and harmony to the nation so that the Hashem can be amongst whole humanity. But we are going to be the Kohanim. And the second part is that Hashem needs us to do the tikkun. And the reason why this Rav Kook's vision of completeness and something which is complete if something is already completed, it cannot exist because you always need to be able to improve. So basically, there's a whole concept, shlemut ve'ishtalmut, if you want, but I do not recommend you because I can recommend you, but it's quite deep and it's very philosophical, which it took me a long time, and I'm not 100% sure that I understood how they understand. I'm not a philosopher, so I'm not going to. There is a third point which I wanted to touch is that you asked about chesed. Last time you asked me about chesed, and so I explained you that the Chofetz Chaim explains that chesed is very important because the chesed is a mean. Through the chesed you can get to better yirat Hashem. Through the chesed you can get to better ahavat Hashem. So chesed helps you as a mean to achieve a certain level of connection that you have with Hashem. So chesed is not the end goal, but it is a mean. Okay, it's a tool that brings you to that level. The Ramak, Rav Moshe Cordovero, in the Toime de Voiro, he argues with that. He says that the chesed is the goal. The goal of this world, of us in this world, is v'holachta b'drachav, that one should go in the ways of Hashem. Ma'urachu ma'faturachu. So we have to go according to like Hashem does. So our goal is we have a tzelem Elokim, and since I have a tzelem Elokim, I have to behave like an Elokim. What does an Elokim do all day? He does chesed. So I have to do chesed. So he says that the end goal of this world is about chesed. And even when I'm putting on tefillin or I am keeping Shabbat, it's also I am having the same tzelem Elokim. Okay, that's what they explain. No, but it's also tzelem Elokim. At least I have the tzelem Elokim. No, I don't know. That's how the Meforshim on the Tomei Dvorah ask, what about the mitzvot? So they say that they bring down from the Zohar that if a person keeps Shabbat, he also has a tzelem Elokim. So he's tzelem. I don't know. I can only say what they say. Yeah, but theoretically, the Ramak says the ikar is the chesed. Okay, to do chesed with another. There is a famous philosopher, Emmanuel Levinas. He is the Yo Mechutn Zechoyne Levrocha. Levi. Yeah. Benny Levi. He is a Talmid of Emmanuel Levinas. And he's the one that was spreading his Torah, the Torah from Emmanuel Levinas. Emmanuel Levinas was not a very Haredi Jew. I don't think that he wore a couple on the street. He didn't wear a couple on the streets or at home, but he was a Shomer Shabbat and he gave shiurim on the Gemara. He was about Tshuva be'etzem. And he's quite famous in Europe. In America, less.
He was French.
He was French, yeah.
He talked French.
Yeah. No.
Benny Levy, c'est la famille de la sœur de ma.
Ouais. And I think I just heard from David that his wife is going to start a group on philosophy about Benny Levy.
Who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, in Brussels. Yeah. So Emmanuel Levinas, he has a whole book, very famous book on, and he speaks always about the other. He's very strongly into ethics, that we are ethic first. That means that psychologically, if you want, when we see another person in front of us, when we are faced with the face of another person, we are completely feeling that we are completely responsible for the other. So the other is completely taken over us, and we have to fight. Our ego fights that and tries to kill the other. Okay, so we kill the other.
Also wants to kill you. So
what? Yeah. So the two are fighting, and therefore in your brains goes like a politics. Is how much will I give attention to the other, etc. But he says that the first reaction is a reaction of he overtakes me, and then my ego fights it. So we are ethic first. That's a bit a modern view of Emmanuel Levinas. There is a big machlokus among today the scientists what exactly he meant, and it's one of the most difficult philosophers. He's unbelievable, difficult French, and it's not to be understood. But in any case, he's so when he says that I'm responsible for the other, it's very interesting. It's because the other, the face of the other, is infinite. So I see infinity in the face of the other. Okay? So when I see another person in front of me, the other person is completely different from me, and therefore the difference is so big, is infinitely big. So I see divinity in the face of the other. So he explains that the reason, so while the Ramak says, the Ramak in Talmud Dvorah explains that I have to look after another because I have a Tzelem Elokim, Emmanuel Levinas says that I have to look for the other because he has a Tzelem Elokim. And that's a very refreshing viewpoint. So he explains that the idea is I have to look after another person, not because I have to be like Hashem, which back to me, but because the other person has a Tzelem Elokim, and therefore I have to look after the Tzelem Elokim. I have to look after divinity. Similar to what we just said, Hashem meets us, and he's giving us examples of how we should behave to him so that we know how to behave with other human beings. Because all the other human beings have also got the Tzelem Elokim. Okay? So by looking after the other, I am looking after Hashem. Okay? So the idea here is a bit philosophical, I know, but it's, there's a lot of things which I can bring you proof, but one of the proof that I can bring you is Rashi. Rashi in Parshas Re'eh, he explains what is Dvekut B'Hashem. So we believe Dvekut B'Hashem, according to the Chofetz Chaim, this is the highest level of to be dabuk in Hashem with everything, all our emotions and everything. So Rashi explains Dvekut in Hashem means Ma'hu Mevakeh Cholim. Sorry? Is to stick, to glue, to be glued to Hashem, connected to Hashem. The highest level of connection to Hashem is Ma'hu Mevakeh Cholim, Afato Mevakeh Cholim, says Rashi. Ma'hu Kover Metim, Afato Kover Metim. Ma'hu Rachum Afato Rachum. In other words, the way that if you want to look after me, says Hashem, you look after the other. Because you look to the other, you are looking after me as well. Because the other has a Tzelem Elokim. And so therefore you have to look after him, and everything that you're doing for me, the Avodat HaMikdash, that you look after Hashem, you have to build him a house, a home, you have to feed him with korbanot. It's all to teach us how we have to behave with others, okay? Because the others all have also a Tzelem Elokim, and so therefore, when I am looking after my friend, I'm not doing a chesed, a horizontal chesed. I am also doing a vertical chesed. I'm also doing a chesed with Hashem. And that's something which is very new as well. It's something which we're not used to it, because we see it as two separate things. We see Ben Odom Lamokom and Ben Odom Lachavero as two separate things. But here, how we explain it here, Rashi explains it, the Ben Odom Lachavero is also Ben Odom Lamokom. And it's the whole idea that Hashem is showing us himself as saying the other friend is also a little divine because he has a Tzelem Elokim. His face is, as Yaakov said to Esau, I see the face of Hashem in your face. It means that we see the face of Hashem in the others. And therefore, when I'm looking on the others, I'm actually looking also after Hashem. And that Hashem is showing us how he wants to be looked after, because he wants us to make a parallel between how we look after Hashem and how we look with after we look with other people. For the moment, there is no difference. The Ramak does not make a difference with the Goyim or Jews.
Who said Yaakov?
The Ramak. Sorry? Yaakov Disa Esav. What? So the Tzelem Elokim, it's a very good question. It's a very good question. Big machloket. The Tzelem Elokim is only the Jewish. Sorry?
What Yaakov said to Esau.
Yeah, he says Lashon. Okay, they normally people are explaining that he didn't mean it. He was speaking in a sarcastic way, but he says.
Where is this in Vayishlach?
What does he say? When he meets him.
It says open in the parsha. It says
Yeah. It uses an expression which is. Somebody knows when he then Vaiso, then Aluf, and then he meets him. Where does he meet him? Then he says to him, I will find it. He speaks about, and I see the face of Hashem in you. In you. It's in Vayishlach.
That's where they meet.
That's what I also saw. But I don't remember this name.
No, because there is already Farol. It's. I'll check.
Todos they are born, yes, but when you're fighting,
This is no.
but not
Nathan
running.
told us. Yeah.
Yeah. Where does
They were
he?
fighting in the
When he
stomach.
brings in the. When he brings in the. When we saw, it says Thomas no. Yaakov. No, it was before. Ki roisi Elokim ponim, no. Vayikra Yaakov Shem Amokoim. No. You dit. Ki al ken roisi ponecho ki rois pnei Elokim.
Well, where is this written?
That is written in Lamet Vayishlach. Yeah, you're right. Vayishlach Lamet Lamet Gimel Lamet Gimel Lamet Gimel Lamet Gimel Yud. Yud. Posuk Yud. Ki al ken roisi ponecho ki rois pnei Elokim. Okay, you can say it means something else. I'm just giving you examples of. So, do I have still time, or it's already time to finish?
5 minutes.
How much? 5 minutes? 3 minutes? What is? What is so the goyim actually? There is no. There are some who wants to explain that that the goyim don't have a tzelem Elokim. They have a tzelmo. It's salmo in Tavnis, but the tzelem Elokim is something only that the Jews have, which is difficult to understand because Jews did not exist then. So what? How does it work exactly? It's a bit that may be created in order for maybe
This was before.
maybe I don't know. It's a bit difficult. There's a big machloket in between the Rambam and the Kuzari if a goy can be a navi, if there are neviim by goyim or not. And the idea how they explain it between the Kuzari is the Kuzari says a goy cannot become a navi, not only a goy but also not a ger. A ger cannot be a navi, which is the Kuzari, which is very difficult because we know we have Ovadia and we have a lot of gerim that became neviim. And in any case, the Rambam says very clearly a goy can become a novi. He has a whole letter to the people from Montpellier, I think, where he explains them that because they were goyim that were neviim, telling them to become Muslims and things like that. So he says, don't think because they are goyim that they cannot be neviim, because goyim can become neviim, but simply because they are rubbish, they are not true. And so the Rambam holds that the goy has also the possibility to reach the highest level of kedusha of this world, which is a navi. Okay, for the Rambam, the navi. So sorry. Everywhere in more Nevuchim also, but it's more in his letters in the Igeret, one of the Igeret where he writes it clearly. But he says that a goy can achieve everything. But the Kuzari says a goy cannot achieve, even not a ger. So he makes it even so that's a difficulty because that means a tzelem Elokim, a ger cannot become a tzelem Elokim. they want to explain it that this machloket is if there is a concept of a Jewish soul or not. That's the question. According to the Rambam, doesn't seem like there is. We have just an advantage that we are by Shonim and Rachmonim, that we have inclination to be more, and plus we have the Torah, so we have an advantage over the Goyim. But otherwise, there is no difference in the neshama. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't speak about that. So the Rambam, but we all know the Rambam was very rational. Huh? It's a very, but the Kuzari holds that there is a Jewish neshama, and therefore the Goyim cannot become Nevi'im, even not the Gerim. Yeah. So it's machloket. It's a big machloket that we tend to believe that there is, yeah, because it makes us feel better. Okay, we have a special to make us a little bit special that we have a Tzelem Elokim. Sorry? Yeah.
You have
Yeah. So basically, the idea here is that I wanted just to finish off that also Hashem is very interesting how he presents himself to us, and he presents himself to us also through human features. So Hashem presents himself to us with a personality. I already spoke about it, I think, last time, which means a personality means that he is what we can call unpredictable. He's not a machine, he's not a robot. Hashem is not a absolute machine, but you can change his mind, you can argue with him. Avram tried to argue, Moshe Rabbeinu managed to argue with him, and he's vulnerable, he's jealous, his mom is jealous, he can be upset, he's very sensitive to, we are not nice to him, he is very rachmonious also. So it's with a lot of interesting human traits that are not what you would expect of a perfect king. So in other words, there is this element of Hashem that the who he is, the me Hashem is, and the mo Hashem are not the same. So the ma Hashem, the difference between the me and the ma, that's what I wanted to finish off, if I'm allowed to, another 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Yeah.
Je peux te donner un
So the Hashem has presented himself to us in two different, so there's a Ma Hashem, is a Melech HaOlam, is the Rabbona Shel Olam, is the Borei Shel Olam. So these are all his things that he does. And then you have the Mi Hashem, is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is the Kedusha. He has a purpose. He is Baruch. He adds to the Teva. So basically, he has a purpose and he has a will, a want, a need, etc. So these are two different images of Hashem that both are true. Okay, I'm not going to, but this is the Baruch Atu Hashem. This is the who is Hashem, and Elokeinu Melech HaOlam Borei Pri Ha'etz. This is the creator. So there are three elements here. Actually, the fourth one, which is Elokeinu, which is for next year, what it means, the Elokeinu. But this is really the idea. And what I just wanted to finish with one point, because I think it's important. There's a difference between the Mi Ani and the Ma Ani. Okay, so like there's a Mi Hashem, the Mo Hashem is also in the who I am and the what I am. And the Mo Ani is something that we tend to have today very well defined. And this is what we call the Mo Ani. I am a religious Jew. I am a Shulchan Aruch Jew. And the idea they want us to be very conform in a system, and to be uniform in a system. But the who I am, the Mi Ani, this is the element which is really going into my own personality, has been very much, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, but has been crushed by the conformity and uniformity. You're expected to be the same as we want you to look like. And my personal opinion, that's why I wanted just to finish off with that, is I believe that for some people, if the Mi Ani and the Ma Ani is not the same, so if there is a tension between the who is in reality and the Mo Ani is how he behaves and how he wants to be, this is big, can be a source of disasters, of all kind of anxieties and depression and OCDs. You see a lot of OCDs I see now in shul by us. You can see them straight away. There's a lot of OCD going on, especially by boys, because the more ani and the mi ani are, for me personally, that's how I understand it, are not aligned, and they create a tension. And so therefore, the only way that it comes out is sometimes either they go off the derech or they develop all kind of problems that we, and this is exactly what Rav Kook is trying to do, is to find yourself. His individuality is more important. You should find your own Torah. You should find what you like in the Torah, and this is the part of the Torah that you like, is the one that you should. Don't let yourself be talked by the system, but you should develop it and develop your own, find your own little letter in the Torah, so that you can develop your own individuality. Sorry? Goes into that level as well. So I've spoken a lot, a different subject, because then we can come, if you invite me again, then we can better.
She's not here anymore.
Sorry?
No,
I know.
I'm still here at the wedding. It's 26, yes? Yes. I'm not
Yeah.
26.
Me also not.
You're also not.
No,
We'll
symptoms.
find out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So should we be zoche to the gule shleimu, we should have the surah story with Meir of Yameinu Amen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
And